Hey everyone, it's Cam from Arsenal Theory Podcast, and we're doing a look back on the Newcastle Arsenal game yesterday. It's taken me a bit of time to kind of come to terms with what's happened. In fact, I'm not really come to terms with it, but what can you do? So we're going to, as usual, get down to business. But instead of talking about specific incidents within the game, which I'm going to do, I'm not going to do that straight away. I want to talk about something else, which was kind of forming in my brain over the last kind of 24 hours since the game ended. And I was thinking about VAR and decisions and fan outrage and fans pointing at other fans. And I kind of came to this conclusion that, in a way, maybe it's the fans' fault that we're in this situation. You know, VAR is its kind of own thing, and it's really, the refs are really they're not answerable really to anyone. But the reason that's the case is because the fans have not demanded that they answer to the fans. So the kind of simplest way I can describe it is that when when a bad decision happens, we laugh at the opposition fans. That's just because we're too tribal when it comes to this kind of stuff. When a bad decision happens against Man United, we don't look at it and go, oh shit, that was really bad. That could happen to us. If it's going to happen to Man United, that could happen to us. We point and laugh and go, Ten Hag, what an idiot, or whatever it is. Same when it happened to Liverpool against Tottenham the other week. We never really come together on these things. And it's a bit like, I suppose, if you had a neighbour, let's say you don't get on with your neighbour at all and you can't stand them, and your neighbour gets burgled. And then you laugh at it and you go, those nasty neighbours, they got burgled, couldn't have happened to nicer people. Instead of actually going, oh, that's really bad, that could happen to me, maybe we should work together to stop this happening to anyone else. Let's set up a neighbourhood watch. Let's look out for each other. Let's raise the issues, find out why this is happening. We don't do that. We just point and laugh. And all fans are guilty of this. I've been guilty of it. Newcastle fans have been guilty of it. They were laughing yesterday. They'll be moaning in a couple of months when the decisions start going against them. And I think it's got to the point where, as fans, there should be some kind of movement where we all come together. It does happen. It happened with the Super League, which affected everyone, and the fans came together and they put a nail in that coffin. Within 48 hours, all the clubs pulled out. And when it comes to the standard of refereeing in this country, it's been going on. The poor refereeing has been going on for so long that we've just accepted it. We've just accepted it as fans, as part of the game, and think there's nothing that can be done about it. But that's bollocks. There is something that can be done about it. And that's the fans not being as tribal about these things. And the same with the managers as well. I mean, Eddie Howe, what a disgrace. What a disgrace of a man yesterday. With his comments saying there was only one challenge that looked like it could possibly be a red card, and that was Havertz. And we're going to come on to that later on. You've got Bruno Guimaraes, who's elbowed forearm Jorginho off the back of the head, off the ball, and done it deliberately. So it's just far too tribal at the moment, and it's to the detriment of the game. But the thing is, as long as your team has got the wink and got the result over the line in that situation, the fans don't care. We're so short-sighted with this stuff. We need to look at it differently. And when a bad decision happens, we need to take it as a bad decision on everyone, I think. Because until the fans come together, I really don't think anything's going to change. Because deep down, no one trusts the refs. There's all sorts of stuff coming out about some of the refs from the game yesterday were refereeing in the Saudi league during the week, and they regularly ref over there. And so you kind of go, well, that's not great. It's not a good look. You've got the Saudi government, who essentially own Newcastle United, are also paying referees to go and referee in the Saudi league. So if you're a ref, is there an unconscious thing where you're like, well, I want to keep getting this gig. It's a well-paid gig. I don't want to do anything against Newcastle in case I lose the gig. I don't know. Corruption exists in all aspects of sport, and in all different sports as well. And football's no different. Why would football be any different? It wouldn't be. And I think when stuff like that is happening, it shines a light on it, and you do start to kind of become a bit of a conspiracy theorist, because you think, well, is it corruption or just incompetence? So yeah, I think it's time the fans came together. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how it works. I don't know physically the machinations of how you do something like that, but it has to happen. We're too tribal, and you know what it is we're being kept that way as well, I think, by how the game is reported on by the likes of Sky and BT and the commentary that goes along with it. They don't want the fans coming together. They want to keep the rage element of it high, because that drives clicks, it drives views, and drives attention. But unfortunately, it's at the result of a really poor product. You shouldn't have referees deciding whether a game is won or lost with incorrect decisions. It should be decided by great football or bad football. So I kind of wanted to get that off my chest. I'll probably have some more thoughts on it, which I'll go through later on in the week. But let's get down to some of the incidents during the actual game. So, because there's quite a few of them. In terms of Eddie Howe said the only red card he thought should be was the Havertz challenge. So in the first half, Kai Havertz has gone to cut down someone who's trying to clear it on the wing. Havertz has come sliding in. He was very close to a red card. When I saw it in real time, I thought it was a red card. Not that I thought he's going to get red carded. I thought, oh, that's a red card. We're down to 10 men now. On the replay, he jumps in to clear the ball, or to block the Newcastle player clearing the ball. In real time, it looks like his front foot that he jumps in with catches the foot of the Newcastle player, but it doesn't. It doesn't catch him. It's his trailing foot which catches like part of the guy's planted foot. So based on that, I would say a yellow card is 100% the right decision. Now, he was very lucky, because he could have been sent off in the second half, because it was borderline a yellow card challenge that he did in the second half, but the ref played on. So, okay. But if he had been sent off for that, there would have been no complaints from me at all. I would have completely blamed the player and the manager for keeping him on. But it was not a red card. However, in real time, I can see why people thought it would be, because, I thought it was a red card. So, yeah, that was one of the first incidences. Second one, Bruno's forearm. So, completely off the ball. Well, Bruno is trying to chase the ball down. He's not getting anywhere. He's not getting anywhere near it. He's dived in for a tackle, missed the player, spun round, and has run behind Jorginho. And with that, he's just whacked him on the back of the head. Jorginho goes splat like a fly, and VAR look at it, and they can't give a yellow. Apparently, on the audio, they said he's not hitting with the elbow, he's hitting with the forearm. It's not violent, but it doesn't look good. Really, it's a yellow card. Now, they can't give yellow cards after the incident. It's just red cards. That is a red card. There's no two ways about it. You've used your forearm to deliberately hit a player on the back of the head off the ball. I mean, what that is the definition of a red card. He should have been booked before that. He did eventually. He also palmed Vieira in the face, so he should have got a booking for that. He barred Jorginho again in the back. Should have got a booking for that. Didn't get. He could, honestly, he could. Gary-Neville was right in when he said Neville was wrong pretty much about everything, apart from one thing where he said Bruno could have had about 5 or 6 yellow cards yesterday, and that's the truth. He could have. I don't know if he's got some vendetta against Arsenal or something, but I'm quite looking forward to having him come back to the Emirates, and let's see what we've got planned for him, because what a horrible, horrible footballer. And he's kind of better than that as well, I thought. It's interesting because like Newcastle fans and a lot of just neutrals as well, actually, they talk about Bruno like he's some world-class, incredible midfielder who Arsenal should have bought. And so I was quite looking forward to seeing him yesterday. And all I saw was just this I mean, I'm a small guy. I'm not a particularly big guy, but I just saw a guy with a real small man syndrome. It's the little man syndrome, running around, trying to get in a fight, trying to start a fight with someone. And I just thought, where's the talent here? Where's this 100 million? I haven't seen this 100 million pound footballer that everyone's going on about. You know, he was basically like a shit Roy Keane. Any other day, he's not getting away with any of that. So, yeah, I don't know what Eddie Howe. I think since Eddie Howe has joined Newcastle, I don't really know what it was like beforehand. But he always struck me as he struck me as a fairly kind of say it as I see it kind of guy, fairly straight down the line, fairly genuine kind of person. But he has got quite myopic since he's become manager in Newcastle. He knows where his money's coming from. Let's put it that way. And yeah, to say that the havertz was really the only thing he's seen that looks like it could have been a red card, the man's clearly lying. So yeah, not got much time for Eddie Howe on that one either. So there was that. Dan Byrne, several horrible challenges on Bukayo Saka, doesn't get booked. You know, I've also watched Arsenal for a long time. It feels like to get a booking against Arsenal, you really do need to kind of almost assault someone. And even then, actually, it doesn't get you a booking, as we saw yesterday. There seems to be a higher standard of foul that needs to take place against someone like Bukayo Saka for some reason. So I was quite glad to see him go off with a back injury. Not that I'm glad he's injured, but he just, you know, he just had the refs in the palm of his hands for some reason. So I was glad to see him go off at half time. But again, just he could have had multiple yellow cards, not as many as Bruno, to be fair, but he could have had a lot of them. So, you know, in the first half, I was actually quite pleased with how Arsenal played. You know, Newcastle were trying to bully us. It wasn't working. It wasn't working at all. We didn't crumble in any way. We weren't great. We didn't really create much going forward. We had a lot of corners, didn't do a lot with them. But at the end of the first half, I was quite kind of content and quite satisfied with how things are going. I thought the atmosphere was maybe going to be too much for us, especially with the injuries and Odegaard out. But that wasn't the case at all. I thought we stood up to it. And Havertz had an interesting game in that he wasn't particularly offensive, but he was present. It was like, okay, this is going to be a dog-eat-dog game, and he was there. He was prepared to kind of go down with the ship or bite back or whatever it was. Very, very physical. Did not get bullied. Was not meek. And actually showed personality and showed that he cared. And that was great to see, because I don't feel we'd seen that up until now. Up until now, he looked like someone who was kind of scared of his own shadow. Definitely wasn't yesterday. So that was really, really good. Declan Rice as well, you know, just incredible performance first half. But yeah, I was quite happy at the end of the first half. But then, you know, second half starts, game starts opening up, and we realised that it's really, the game is opening up at this point, and it's looking like it can go kind of either way. And looking back on it now, it really was the kind of game that was going to be decided by either a poor decision by the ref, poor decision by a player, or a moment of genius, really. And it was kind of one and a half of those things. So the ball, I still haven't seen a picture of the ball being in for the Newcastle goal. All I've seen is pictures of the ball out. And yet the refs have gone, it looks out. We haven't seen a picture of it in. It looks out, but we don't know if it's out, so we can't give it as out. Okay, but you haven't seen anything saying it's in either. Fair enough. Arsenal players should have played to the whistle. They didn't, because they thought the ball had gone out. It's a score. I mean, it does look like it's gone out, though. But it hasn't gone out by a lot. It's not like it's gone 3-4 yards out and so the players just switched off. It's gone out like a little bit, but it does look like it's gone out. So they probably won't make that. I certainly hope they won't make that mistake again of switching off. So the ball's gone out, or not, so to speak. Newcastle cross it in. Gabriel was clearly pushed by Joe Linton in the back of the head. Hits Joe Linton's hand, goes to Gordon, who, I'll be honest, I don't know if he's offside or not, because it looks like the offside rule's changing all the time. But there's the ball going out, the foul on Gabriel, and then the handball on Joe Linton as well. And it's just like a perfect storm of fuckery, really. And the VAR went, methodically through each potential scenario and somehow cleared them and gave the goal. So, there was still time to come back into the game. We made some changes. They didn't work. Vieira and Drossard were terrible. I mean, Drossard really is a hit or miss player recently, I feel. He's either incredible or terrible. He had 3 corners at the end and just kept hitting the first man. It's like, what are you doing? You're a top quality player. Why are you messing it up like this? Fabio Vieira came on and was just a waif. Like I said, I'm not a big guy, but this guy's like, he's just so weak. And I don't know how he's going to make it. Just poor decisions as well. Even a foul throwaway at the end. It's Declan Rice went mad at him as well at that point. And I can see why, because the problem we've got some really elite players now. So the ones that aren't on the level really stand out. The likes of Saliba and Declan Rice were incredible yesterday. Saliba was just pulling off like these, almost like video game moves. It's like 3 Newcastle players on him, just like turning each of them, jinking past them, playing the ball out. Incredible stuff. So when you have players that are just so far off that level, it really shows up. I think in the previous years, when you had the likes of Mustafi and all those crap players, you could maybe blend in a bit better if you weren't that great, but you can't do that now. Not with the likes of, although Saka, I don't think Saka had a great game. I don't think Martinelli had a great game either. But with Rice and Saliba there, it really does show. So very disappointing not to get the 3 points. I don't think we deserved the 3 points. I think a draw was a fair result. So really, it's cost us a point. But man, I can't wait for the rematch at the Emirates. Oh God, if they beat us at the Emirates, that's just going to be terrible. But I can't wait for that. So, after the game, Mikel went on this huge rant. You've probably seen some of it online where he's talked about embarrassment, the Premier League, level of refereeing, and he's going to get fined. He probably will get a ban as well. The Arsenal have just released a statement before I came online, essentially backing up his comments and saying, look, more needs to be done. We need to get better at this, yada, yada, yada. And rival fans have been pointing the finger at Mikel, saying, oh, there's some Liverpool fans piping up saying, oh, where was this energy when we got stitched against Tottenham? And it's like, after that game, Mikel said, I hope Liverpool get what they deserve and get what they're asking for. He agreed with it. So I don't know why they're getting upset, because he also said, look, the refs are doing what they can and mistakes happen. But then after that, he then said in the same breath, though, that I hope Liverpool get what they need and get what they want, and we all start getting correct decisions. So that's what I mean. It's just about keeping the fans fighting each other and not joining together and fighting the refs. We've all got a common enemy at the moment, and that's the VAR officials. And it's not even the VAR officials, but the refereeing association as a whole. That should be unfortunately, it's an enemy. It's an enemy of the fan. So yeah, I don't know how quickly it will be till they fine him. I think it's going to be a big one as well. I mean, he can afford it, but yes, probably going to be. I reckon he'll get a 50 grand fine for that, and maybe a 1 match ban. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So yeah, I'm still not over the result. Even the wife was like saying to me earlier, "Oh, is everything all right? You seem a bit down." It's so pathetic how we can let football kind of just overtake how we're feeling and dictate how we're feeling. It's just quite pathetic, really, when you think about it. But what can you do? We can't turn the game off. We love it too much. So, yeah, terrible result. The performance was good in parts. The team didn't help themselves in that situation. Ben White stopped running. You know, a couple of other players stopped running because they thought the ball had gone out. We could have defended it better. Could Raya have reached the cross? I mean, he's not going to grow a couple of inches on his arms, is he? You know, he's not a big goalie. So apart from that, I thought Raya actually did quite well. I thought some of his kicking was really good. But one way you can beat the refs or have a better chance of beating the refs is to have a better team. And you know, we felt those injuries today. Oh, yesterday. Jesus, we missed him. Odegaard, we missed him. Thomas Partey, we've missed him. You know, I think apparently we've had our first choice midfield of Odegaard, Partey, and Rice for 20 minutes all season. So there are some. I'm probably going to cover it on a video during the week, but we've actually had quite poor squad playing and talent IDing, I feel. And I don't know if it's Arteta or Edu, but there are definitely questions to be asked. And I feel like there are decisions Mikel has made, and the choices he's made have not been proved correct beyond doubt. You know, like getting rid of Flo Balogun and keeping Nketiah. Is that been a rip-roaring success? You can't say really, oh yeah, that 100% that was the right decision. Bringing in Raya and ditching Ramsdale, marginal gains, very, very marginal. 65 million on Havertz. I mean, he looked interested yesterday, but that's the least you should expect for a 65 million pound player. It's not working out yet, and we've got rid of Xhaka. So I feel we may have got some things wrong. And you know, signing Declan Rice, I don't know if I said it in my previous video, but I can't really give the club credit for ponying up the money, but it doesn't take a genius to go, oh yeah, we should buy Declan Rice and bring him into our team. You don't need to be a director of football to understand that that's a good thing to do. And I think maybe that's the case with someone like Ivan Toney as well, possibly. I don't think we're going to sign him. I'm not sure how much money we've got to do anything in January unless we sell. And I don't think we're going to sell anyone. So, yeah, it's just a bit of a shit show all around, really. So I'm going to leave it there. Got stuff to be getting on with. And hopefully this bad mood will just kind of dissipate. We've got some games coming up midweek. So that's the good thing about football, I suppose, is that if you have a bad game, there's always a new one coming up so you can try and right a wrong, and that's at home. And I think the fans will be up for it. The fans will be right behind the players after what happened. And yeah, just keep it in mind, you know, have a think. Are fans too tribal? Does it actually stop us from getting improvements in the game that we need? Imagine if all the fans came together and protested against the shite refereeing that were dished up. I mean, look how bad it is in the Premier League. I've got no idea how bad it is in the Championship, the lower divisions. It must be awful. It must be terrible there. So yeah, if the fans all came together and had a big protest, the FA would be forced to take this more seriously. They'd be forced to create, you know, to throw more money at it and actually get people who understand about building organizations and building competency within organizations as well, because that is not there. Howard Webb is not the man. He should be sacked or resigned. Imagine if the whole Premier League, all the Premier League clubs put out a statement going, we no longer have faith in Howard Webb's direction. He'd have to go. He'd have to go. And they would bring in a competent administrator who could put the refereeing association in its place and raise the standards of it. So anyway, that's me. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please comment if you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.